Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. The long range meta here in Warzone Season 4 Reloaded is feeling super competitive. After the strange changes that they said they made to all weapons with the damage profiles, it feels like things are a lot more balanced when it comes to the general long range meta right now. And you got plenty of different options between some of your basic rifles and LMGs that are going to be really consistent and really reliable. Starting first with one of my favorites at the moment, the Lachmann 5.56. This just straight up is one of the easiest weapons in the entire game to pick up and fry with. It's got decent damage, but really what we're focused on here is how easy it is to shoot. It's so straightforward. The recoil is next to none, meaning that even with mediocre damage, it's going to outgun heavier damage weapons because those are more difficult to use and you'll land more shots with this. And this setup in particular, it's one that we've covered many times here. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. It just straight up fries. AMOT V4, my standard optic of choice, but if there's one that you enjoy using more, always switch to that for your comfortability. 60 round extended mag, standard for all modes. I go for the Ripper underbarrel here, gonna help out with that stabilization, just make it even more consistent over the mid to long range. Echoless 80 suppressor is gonna help out with that velocity and range. It is a lighter suppressor, so quicker ADS, but no control benefits. You don't really need those in this case. Then I go for the RAPP barrel. This is that 3-in-1, better control, better velocity, better range option here, so great for mid to long range efficiency. That said, if you're someone who likes the feel of high velocity ammo on their long range guns, you could probably drop the RAPP barrel or the Ripper underbarrel and replace high velocity with that, but really you can't build this thing wrong. It's a great weapon overall. The M13 is of course another fantastic rifle when it comes to the mid to long range, one that I'm always saying, hey, wait a second, this kind of feels like a pea shooter, doesn't it? But then you go ahead and you look at the stats on paper and it's like, oh yeah, the M13 actually has one of the best TTKs over the long range right now, right? So it's relatively straightforward to use. I don't even use an underbarrel on this specific build because its recoil is so simple in my opinion, and you can just fry with this thing, right? So again, AMOT V4, 60 round extended mag. In this case, instead of the underbarrel, I am going for high velocity just because I like the feel of that on this weapon in particular, but feel free to try out both styles and see which one works the best for you, obviously. Harbinger suppressor in this case, because we're not using an underbarrel, is a heavier suppressor, which does offer some control alongside the velocity and the range benefits. Then the Echelon barrel, yet again, is that 3-in-1, better range, better velocity, better control, better pizza, and it gets the job done, right? That's what you want out of a barrel for a mid to long range gun. M13 build really hasn't changed all that much recently, but it's still holding its own. Now, of course, we gotta talk about the RAAL when it comes to the long range meta. This thing, while it has a little bit more control and obviously it's very slow, brings the power. It brings the pain, really, because it's going to decimate everyone and everything in your sights. You learn to land your shots, you learn how to master the control here, and you're pretty much set. Very few things will be able to outgun this thing 1-to-1 over long range. So here I got AMOT V4 yet again, Stip 40 rear grip for the straight up better control. We tuned to enhance that as well. And I also go for the Dune underbarrel, which focuses on steadiness and stability. This is a super clutch underbarrel that it's kind of a do it all. So those two combined really make this weapon a lot easier to use. Unfortunately, we don't have high velocity on it because we're using an underbarrel and a rear grip. If you're super comfortable with the control, you could definitely try dropping, I would say, probably the rear grip and trying out high velo and see how that feels for you. Rhino barrel, better control, better velocity, pretty standard there. Then the Nil Sound 90 suppressor again is a lighter suppressor, so just straight up better velocity and better range. Really just maximizing this thing for the mid to long range, making it as easy to shoot as possible. And with that, you are going to reap the rewards. You're going to be frying and absolutely decimating everybody. As we continue on, by the way, if you guys are new to the channel, every day I got you covered with meta breakdowns, the latest news, patch notes, updates, everything like that. So if you want to guarantee you're always up to date with all things going on in COD, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you enjoy the video, if you find it helpful at all, let me know by dropping a like on it as well. Would be seriously appreciated, as it does really help the channel grow. Another phenomenal LMG, and one that I've been running a ton lately, is the RAPP. It's got that super high fire rate, so unfortunately you got to reload a lot, but when you land your shots, this thing is absolutely absurd. It just fries and erases players. I just really love the overall feel of this weapon right now. As mentioned, 100 round mag, so I don't have to reload nearly as often, right? TCG 10 rear grip's gonna focus straight up on that better control. We got AMOT V4 on here for the just clean optic precision sight. As always though, feel free to use whichever one you are the most comfortable with. Ripper underbarrel for that better stabilization and stability, which obviously is clutch over long range. Then the Talon 5 suppressor, again, a heavier option here, so a little bit of better control, but better velocity and better damage range coming out of that as well. solid overall build here, and it really does fry. Then the last of the top tier LMGs for me right now is going to be the HCR. This thing, again, much like the Lachmann 556, is just so low recoil, so despite having maybe a lot less damage than the RAAL, on paper, their TTKs are going to actually end up being very similar in realistic gameplay, because you're going to land a lot more shots using this than with the RAAL because the extra bounce over there. So it's a point and shoot just beam that's really a versatile LMG. It's much more of like a rifle and LMG hybrid. Surprise, surprise. AMOP V4 yet again. Stip 40 rear grip for that better recoil control. High velocity here because I don't really feel like you need a barrel, and you obviously don't need an extended mag with this fire rate, so you can get all the control plus high velocity here, pairing that with the Ripper underbarrel yet again, and then Harbinger once more. Better control, better velocity, and better damage range out of that. Just a super reliable LMG build here, one that's been putting in the work for some time now. Now, yes, even after the update, which we all thought was going to actually make some impactful changes to the SO14 since it's been dominating lobbies for some time now, the SO14 is still a great mid to long range option. Now, for longer ranges, you probably want to be using this in semi-auto versus full auto, which is going to have a lot more recoil control. Full auto is really meant for like the mid-range versatility, maybe even some close range if you find yourself there. Long range, it's going to be easiest to fry with the semi-auto, at least in my own opinion here. This setup though works great for that, and the one that I've been using a lot between like ranked, standard resurgence, even normal all-Moz or battle royale, at least when that's available. AMOP V4 yet again. 50 round drum, you never have to worry about reloading here. Ripper underbarrel is super clutch on semi-auto guns because the recenter factors. Master barrel for the better control, range, velocity, pizza as well in there. Hidden bonus if you didn't know. Then also, I go for the second tread 40 just because when I spam this, that recoil is noticeable. That said, if you want to switch up for maybe a suppressor here, you absolutely could go for something like the Polar Fire. If you wanted a heavier one with Talon, you could do so as well. You certainly got some options here for sure, but second tread's been working fine for me for some time, and like I've been saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? All right, post-edit Zach here. For whatever reason, when I was recording the Squall section of this video, my camera was spazzing out, so figured it was just easier to show off the setup like this. But yes, the Cronen Squall in full auto is still a very good choice here in Season 4 Reloaded. The setup is pretty standard here. AMOP V4, the 50 round drum. I've been running the Ripper underbarrel for the stabilization alongside the HR 6.8 barrel, so it's just super easy to use over range. You also pair that with the second tread 40, it's even easier to use. That said, if you're super comfortable with this style of build, you absolutely could test out maybe dropping Ripper or the barrel for high velocity ammo if that matters enough to you for a long range gun. But this setup for me, I mean, it gets the job done. I love how this feels. And then lastly, I got the TAQ-V, and this setup in particular is just all out control based, because over long range, if you can land your shots with the TAQ, it's going to be ridiculously strong and up there with the best of the best in terms of overall TTK. So this setup really helps make sure you are extra accurate because it's pretty much all in on control. So AMOP V4 and 50 round extended mag are the pretty standard choices there. I go for the combat rear grip, just straight up better control, right? Also go for the Ripper underbarrel, straight up better stabilization and stability, making it a little bit more consistent and predictable. And then sack and tread 40 on here as well. Now the downside to this setup is that the velocity is not great. So if you start using this and you get super comfortable with it and you say, all right, maybe I try taking out the combat rear grip and I throw on high velocity, you then have more of a reliable build over long range. That's kind of the downside of this gun, is that the velo is somewhat mediocre, but the recoil is also so noticeable that you really have to attack one or the other, and having a compromise is a little bit more tough in this case, which quite frankly balances out the weapon. That's a good compromise that you have to, deal with. But regardless, if you can land your shots with the TAQ-V, good luck to that enemy in that gunfight, right? And that being said, that is the newly updated long-range meta here in Warzone. That's going to wrap things up. If you enjoyed the video, let me know by dropping a like on it. And if you are new here, you want to guarantee you are always up to date with everything going on in COD, be sure to hit that subscribe button on your way out. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.